Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Suzerain Kingdom of Rizia edition, where last time we didn't get Zille back despite our best efforts due to some complications with Wayland, so it's now going to a referendum. So we need to try to influence that referendum as best we can to actually come out on top. But I think we have already been sending some people there for a little while to try and start the process getting Zille back. Palace I'm hoping to get back via the wedding between Duke Reinhardt and my daughter Vina. And on the subject of marriage, we rather unexpectedly and rather quickly got married to Duchess of Zorro. So, we've got another powerful house on side, is my hope. I'm just hoping that she does genuinely love me and it won't end up in a coup and her murdering me in my sleep like Lady Macbeth. Still. The day of Vina's wedding had arrived. The mood in the country was jubilant, though the prospect of permanently losing Zille to Wayland lent solemn undertones to the celebrations. The service had just concluded at the Ark Sanctuary of Zilba. Vina had been nervous as we walked down the aisle together, but the moment she spotted Duke Reinhardt waiting for her at the altar, it all melted away. There was an undeniable spark between them. It wasn't love yet, but it could be. Grand Wiseman Ignatius presided over the wedding, giving no sign that he repeated the same words to myself and Lucita the night before. As per tradition, the newlyweds shared their first kiss on the Zilba steps in front of the public. The crowd went wild as Axel dipped Vina low for the cameras. Citizens waved Rizia and Pelesian flags from their balconies as our carriage procession wound through the streets of Port Drazen. Is it Port Drazen or Port Drazen? I'm still going with Port Drazen. I've been saying Port Drazen for so long now. Flanked by the Golden Guard. We disembarked in front of Palace Resna. It was time for the reception. Lucita was by my side as we entered the Grand Hall. I heard cheers mixed with displeasing whispers as the photographers took our picture. Was this a mistake? Too much? Too quickly? Focus on being my arm candy. That wasn't your attitude last night, Your Majesty. Shh. She smiled and held her left hand behind her back as cameras kept flashing. I took a look around the hall, being transformed into a sea of banquet tables, each adorned with silk tablecloths, elaborate floral arrangements, and the finest of china. Crystal chandeliers twinkled overhead, so enormous I thought the ceiling might collapse. We crossed the room and took our place behind the head table. My mother was already seated, wearing a deep violet hat that resembled a fanciful undersea creature. Pebble shook her hands before helping us to our seats. Congratulations, Your Majesty. And to you on your hat, madam. Why, thank you. I'm happy someone in this palace appreciates haute couture. Thank you, Pebble. I'm glad to have you with me today. Where else would I be, Your Majesty? A string quartet stuck up a stately march as the bride and groom made their entrance. Vina's shimmering white gown showed behind her as she and Axel strode through the Grand Hall arm in arm, waving to the cheering guests with practiced ease. As they took their heads behind our table, a line of guests formed to deliver their congratulations. Look at this, Vina, all those people who came to Port Drazen just for you. Estella leaned over and nudged her granddaughter. Sit up straighter, dear. Don't forget you're the princess of 2 countries now. Soon to be 1. Axel kissed Vina's cheek, then caught an eyebrow at Lucita. Nothing's in stone yet, milady. Queen Beatrice was first in line to greet us. My word, Vina, you're the spitting image of your mother in that gown. Vina smiled, her eyes moist. Thank you for coming, Aunt Bee. Why, I wouldn't miss it for anything in the world. Duke Reinhardt, it's an honour to meet Grace's newest member in person. Axel kissed her hand and threw her a roguish wink. The honour is all mine, Your Excellency. I'm very much looking forward to collaborating with you, whether the grand reunion happens or not. Her eyes came to rest on Lucita. And you're the warrior noblewoman I've heard so much about. Guilty as charged, Your Excellency. Thank you for coming, Beatrice. I know all of us wish your sister could have been here today. She lived for such occasions, always ready with a perfectly worded toast. And not so rude as to have forgotten a gift, our royal jewellers are putting the finishing touches on it as we speak. With a final curtsy, she departed to the table she shared with her husband and sons. President Anton Rain stepped before me. He was accompanied by a man I vaguely recognised. Congratulations, Your Majesty. It's good to see you again. I'm glad you can make it. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to speak more at the AN. I told my secretary to mark my calendar as soon as I got the invitation. We've got as much riding on our business partnership as you do. My wife Monica sends her regrets. Some sort of feminine issue. I didn't want to ask for details. But about someone else who's been wanting to meet you for a while. Ah, Peter Vecten. The disgraced Vice President of Sworland from our original playthrough. Sworland's Vice President bowed low to the ground, wobbling slightly as he straightened up. Thank you for joining us on this joyous occasion. How do you find Port Drazen? It's easy, you exit the palace and turn left. He laughed to himself. Seriously, it's great to be here. You know, I got a nice piece of Rizia gold from Rusty Montoro once. I wonder how much it's worth now. What do you think, Your Highness? Vina had a polite smile frozen on her face. Thank you for coming today, Vice President Vexen. Thank you for allowing me to crash your wedding. Should you ever fancy a diplomatic visit to Wholesword, I'll personally make sure you're given the royal treatment. His eyes wandered over to Axel. Marriage between once warring kingdoms. Say, this would fit right into an idea I had about for a soap opera between monarchies. The Swordish president politely nudged his companion. It's time we adjourn to our table, Mr. Vecton. Congratulations again, Your Majesty. My mother wore a delighted smile as the Swordish delegation left. They're exactly how I imagined them. I took a long line. I took a look at the line. There's still a number of guests waiting to greet us. Amma Sultana expressed heartfelt congratulations to myself and Vina, while pointedly ignoring her new husband. Rusty Montoro enthusiastically offered his well wishes and gifted the newlyweds a life-size statue of themselves made of solid gold. Nobles from all three houses extended their polite greetings to Vina and Axel. It felt like an eternity before we finally got to eat. As the father of the bride and king of Rizia, I was expected to open the feast with a toast. A new Cantuava vintage had been bottled in Vina's honour. They named it her Royal Wineness. Terrible name. I raised the full glass in front of me. My cherished friends and family members. I'm truly overcome with emotion that so many came to honour my daughter's marriage. Particularly glad so many of our South Mokopa neighbours are here, bodes very well for the alliance we are planning. There was a round of applause. Today marks the dawning of a new age, not only for the royal family, but for Rizia as a whole. The new Crown Prince had to be someone who would keep Rizia strong for years to come. Axel wrapped an arm around Vina. They smiled out at the crowd. To Grindheart, you've been a formidable ally and energy partner. I could not ask for a better son-in-law. And the fact that Prince Consort is willing to sacrifice his name to marry Vina speaks volumes about his dedication to the crown. Loud cheers went up from the tourist tables. As you enjoy this sumptuous banquet, do not forget the thousands of unseen hands who have made it possible, from the farmers who till the soil to the servants pouring the wine. A toast to my wonderful daughter Vina. I will always love and cherish you, no matter your path in life. Everyone in the hall lifted their glasses high. To Vina and Axel. All of our guests repeated the words, the hall filled with the sound of clinking glasses. I took a sip of wine. It was delicious. The Cantuavos have outdone themselves. This might be their masterpiece. A sweet finish to the sweetest of days. I looked once more at my daughter. The light from the chandeliers glinted off Lena's ring on her finger. She and Axel were talking to each other animatedly, their full wine glasses all but forgotten. I knew she'd remember today forever. And that's the end of the turn. Is there anything I want to try decree? I mean, I've got such little authority to do much with. There's not much I can do there. What about with our armed forces? We need more equipment and support vehicles for sure. But we'll have to do that in the next turn because there's not much we can do here. The Prince. I'm guessing Duke Reinhardt, our new son-in-law. We've lost even more authority. Where's that come from? -2 per turn from power projection. -1 per turn from weakened traditions. -1 per turn from anger religious groups. From intermacopant organisation. Need to find a way to increase this quickly. I need something which gives me authority, not takes it away. Everything requires authority one way or another, and we just don't have it. I could buy some military equipment here for 2 budget, or some support vehicles, but they are expensive, and that also requires authority. So I'm not sure that's something we want to do straight away. Let's go over to, I guess, Sworden first. Yes. Approximately 4 years have passed since our strategic investment in Sworden's economic recovery bonds. The global economy has witnessed numerous fluctuations and changes during this period, affecting Sworden's economic rebound. Now it's time to assess the financial outcome of the bonds. We win or lose nothing. Okay. I think that gave us some additional budget. It's not... Doesn't look like anything happened there, but that's okay. Morgus will connect Rizia and Morella as part of the ever-growing trade relations between the two countries. The newly constructed Morgas pipeline opens between Rizia and Cavet. An opening ceremony held in the border town of Point Data. Officials from both countries shook hands and celebrated the momentous occasion. Okay. Final vote on the MITZ. Once again, our helicopter touched down in MITZ. Elena winced as she descended the steps to the sandy ground. The trip was quicker last time, or I was just younger. She pinned a strand of grey hair behind her ear as we began walking towards the MITZ headquarters. Ready for the final vote, Your Majesty? Remind me again, how much do we have riding on this? Well, admittedly, it's unlikely we'll find any new gold sources in Rizia in the near future, which is troubling because a large percentage of our economy still depends on gold. So we have a vested interest in making sure the proposal we agreed with Morella goes through. I advise you to think about how we can maximise our returns, even if it costs us international partnership or 2. Morella's support is key for my plans for South American Alliance. I have to keep Sultana happy at all costs. At all costs, Your Majesty? We kept walking until we reached the entrance of the headquarters. We were about to enter the building when Chancellor Emmerich Hegel and the rest of the Valgish delegation walked past us. Hegel looked at me in the eye and nodded in greeting, his expression unreadable. Good day, Mr. Hegel. I fully intend for it to be a good day, Mr. Taurus. We were ushered into the main conference hall. Elena split off her seat as I was led into one of the 4 podiums on stage. Alvarez gave a cordial nod as I took my place next to him. Greetings, Mr. Alvarez. Hello, Your Majesty. There was a squeal of feedback as Alma Sultana tapped on her microphone. The reporters, executives, and various delegations in the conference hall snapped to attention. My brothers and sisters, we all know what this is about, so I'll get straight to it. Several years ago, the Republic of Morella began an initiative to bring the resources of the Meftian Basin under the stewardship of our state and our people. Unfortunately, not all stakeholders agreed on this new direction for the trade zone, but after several rounds of negotiations, we were able to come to a compromise that preserved the MITZ structure while introducing new measures. In this agreement, each of our partners will be able to keep their existing share. Nobody will be going home empty-handed. An aide approached Sultana with a briefcase. She opened it and took out a single piece of paper. The amended MITZ agreement of 1957. From henceforth, it is agreed that the state of the MITZ previously belonged to Vagistan will be transferred to the Republic of Morella. Higher wages and stronger labour and environmental protections will be implemented immediately. Espia and Rizia will retain their 25% shares. Alvarez scowled and folded his arms. Each MITZ must now grant his or her final vote for approval to the proposal. The Republic of Morella votes yes. Espia votes no in this unfair sham of an agreement. It was my turn. Rizia votes yes. Alvarez, I'm sorry, your time has come. Sultana nodded at Hegel. The Vagistandian Chancellor cleared his throat dramatically. The Republic of Vagistan approves this proposal. There was a round of polite applause. Sultana smiled in obvious relief. By a 3-1 vote, the renegotiated agreement for the Meftium International Trade Zone will be implemented. This is a momentous occasion. I thank you all for joining us here today and invite you to stay for celebrations. I caught Elena's eye. She was applauding placidly from the front row. Prime Minister Sultan waved at us all to join her at the podium for a photograph. We'll join her. Alvarez and Hegel stood on either side of us as she held up the new contract for the cameras. The lesbian Prime Minister spoke into my ear in a voice so low only I could hear it. The gloves are off now, Your Majesty. Good luck to your kingdom. Don't forget to smile for the cameras. He kept a bitter grin on his face as the shutters clicked all around us. Me and Lesbia are not getting on well, are we? They're still neutral, but I fear things will change. And they are overwhelming in terms of military. So we need to think about what we can do. We do need some more supply vehicles for sure. But I wonder if we're better off. We don't need more manpower. We do, however, need more military. We've only got one authority left. I need to try and use it effectively. Military equipment facility. Can't build a support vehicle facility. That takes too long, and we don't have the authority to do so. But we will build a military equipment factory, because that will also help our economy, and should keep Duchess Azara on side as well. But we do now have a real issue with authority that we need to sort out quickly, but I don't really see a way to do so. Okay. The King Romus Taurus Hospital, funded and approved by the King through royal decree, has officially been opened in a grand ceremony earlier today. The medical facility not only offers healthcare to citizens, but also includes a large military wing and research labs. Prominent experts across the medical world have expressed their gratitude for the King for making this endeavour possible. Authorities prepare for another mass demonstration. Authorities in the capital are scrambling to organise a response to yet another mass demonstration against the monarchy that is expected to take place in the coming days. With protests expected to arrive from all over the country, this could be the biggest yet. And homelessness in freefall. As the programme providing housing to homeless individuals starts picking up speed, the number of unhoused inside Port Jason is effectively halved. A shortage of housing still exists, but finding suitable housing space difficult. But new constructions are underway to alleviate these problems. At least that's going well. Now for our Chancellor's Alliance, because I am scared of Lesbia. I gathered in Port Drazen with Lorenzo and the other members of my proposed South Macopan alliance. For this occasion, I had chosen the Amethyst Room, a circular chamber in one of Palace Residence' top floors. As the centre was a round mahogany table with sparkling amethyst inlays embedded along its edges. The violet hue matched the silk drapes lining the walls. Pedestals, nestled among the circumference, displayed alabaster busts of Queen Nysa and many of my other ancestors, dating all the way back to Count Resner. Ruler upon ruler, each with their own approach to diplomacy and conflict. None had attempted an alliance as ambitious as the one I was hoping to realise today. Lorenzo and I exchanged nods. It was time for the meeting to begin. Dear esteemed guests, I thank you for joining me today. I will start with a roll call. Prime Minister Alma Sultana Morella. I look forward to working with you on building a resilient and unified South Macopa. Axel Reinhardt, Taurus, Duke of Pales and Prince Consort of Rizia. Axel smiled as he rose from his chair. Thanks to my father-in-law for extending this unique opportunity to us. As the main initiator of the tentatively titled Inter-Macopan Alliance, Rizia is prepared to offer resources to get the project off the ground. Let His Majesty explain more about our intentions. In a world dominated by ATO and the CSP, it is vital that our nations focus on bolstering each other's national security. I saw nods of agreement around the table. My kingdom cannot make any concrete commitments in this area, but I hope you all recognise the importance of mutual defence. A few of my tablemates looked sceptical. Lorenzo gestured for me to proceed. Damn, this might not go well. In today's shifting economic climate, establishing financial stability should be of the utmost priority. 3 budget per turn. Oh god. Sure, I want to make this work, but we're going to have to find some way to come back from the brink. And oil and gas is the backbone of this alliance. I propose we work further towards establishing energy independence. Our first step towards that would be the creation of energy stockpile, towards which Rizia is prepared to contribute heavily, -5 energy. That's my proposal. Hope that everyone is on board so far. The others have big smiles on their faces. Now there's the generosity I was expecting from your kingdom. I can't say no to family anyway, but I have no qualms about saying yes to this. I'm pleased to hear you're happy with our suggestions. Just in case, though, we do have a portion of today's meetings dedicated to going through your individual concerns. With whom shall we start? Duke Reinhardt Taurus, do you agree to this alliance? I don't think I really have a choice, Dad. But even if I did, I can't say no to this deal. Count Pales in. That's the spirit, son. Yes, thank you, Your Grace. I assume we'll make your membership into Mokopum worthwhile. And Prime Minister Sultana. None, Miss Taurus. She took a long glance around the table. At least, I have no concern about your kingdom's role in this new alliance. I'm glad we can rely on your participation, Miss Sultana. Thank you, Madam Prime Minister. We will do what we can to engender trust between you and the other Mokopum members. A hush came over the room. That is it, then. We have an alliance. This day shall go down in history. The others applauded. All of the individual points we discussed today will be formalised shortly, but for now I have prepared an official statement of intent for you all to sign. He unrolled a scroll of vellum on the table. The heading on it read, Into Mokopum Declaration of 1957. One by one, my partners walked to the head of the table to sign it. Thank you once more for all your efforts, Mr. Taurus. Sultana printed her name in precise block lettering. Nice one, Your Majesty. We'll celebrate over dinner soon. Axel scrawled his signature across the bottom of the page. I slowly walked to the table and picked up the pen. Let's just sign as Romulus Taurus. Let's not be stupid. I found a free space on the parchment and wrote my name on it. I stood together with other leaders of Inter Mokopum, admiring our handiwork. It was done. My ambition of a South Mokopum Regional Alliance had been realised. Now all I had to do was tell Queen Beatrice. Authority! Yes! Come on! Haha. 5 authority per turn. Although, we are going to have to be aware that we're going to lose a lot of budget going forward from this ongoing Inter Mokopum costs. So we're going to have to find some way to deal with this, but we finally have some authority, thank God. So, what can we do with that? That would be useful. I want some long-term budget stuff, not just short-term budget, because that's not going to help me in the slightest. I need money per turn, really. Budget per turn. I'm trying to find things which we can actually get away with. 1 budget per turn for -4 authority. That's a lot of authority to lose for any 1+1 budget. I think we're probably going to have to do this one, repeal of business tax credits. Might temper the ardour of the business community and encourage increase in public approval. But we're going to have to sign it. We're going to need the budget going forward with this Inter Mokopum issue. We'll see what else turns up. And you know what? Pavel, we're going to decriminalise homosexuality. Leaving ourselves with 4 authority remaining. But now we're earning 5 per turn, so I'm pretty happy with that, all things considered. There was a lot of things to spend, but I think they're useful things. Right, Vagersland offers aid. Chancellor Emre Kegel of Vagersland has presented a proposal of significant mutual interest. Vagersland seeks commercial access to appear at the strategically important Port Dresden port. In return, they are offering substantial aid to Rizia, potentially enhancing our financial, logistical, and military capabilities. This agreement, while promising improved bilateral relations and economic benefits, also requires careful consideration of the strategic implications, granting Vagersland such access to one of our key maritime assets. I think we'll give it to them for the budget and to hopefully be with goodwill. We are allied with Morella, which is good, and we're allied with Pales, which hopefully means we can get it back into our kingdom in the future. But as they're allies, if they don't, I don't think that's a huge problem. Let's go meet with Queen Beatrice. The grandfather clock in the tea room of Brambleton Manor let out a series of deep, resonant chimes. Queen Beatrice had invited me to a countryside retreat in Dartford for a one-on-one talk, but she hadn't filled me on the subject. I didn't care what she wanted to talk about. I was glad to get away from the capital and see my sister-in-law. I looked down at the table in front of me. A white porcelain plate and teacup was surrounded by roughly a draw's worth of silverware. I remember my late wife lovingly instructing me on the particulars of Rumburgian high tea etiquette. The outermost spoon was for spreading jam on scones, the middle spoon was exclusively for stirring tea, while the inner spoon was eating petit fours. Just as the clock's fifth chime sounded, the Queen of Rumburg materialized in the doorway, flanked by her attendants. Rice agreed. "Oh, come now, Your Majesty, it's just us two." She gestured for me to sit down, then took her own seat across from me. I feel like she's not going to be very happy about my new alliance. A white-gloved server came by and poured us both tea, then set down a tiny bowl of sugar. Now, let me go back up. The middle spoon was for stirring tea, so let's do that one. It just smiled approvingly and did the same. "So, Your Majesty, I suppose you know why I've asked you to join me here today." I can hazard a guess. You've turned your back on the most loyal of trade partners, and rubbed salt in our wounds with the formation of your silly little regional alliance. And furthermore, our server returned with a silver tray of piping hot scones, and a crystal ramekin of rosehip jam. And that needs to be the... Ooh, I want to say that's the outer spoon. I picked up the outer spoon, used it to spread jam on one of the scones. You remember your tea etiquette. Very good. But that is not enough to mend the rift between us, Your Majesty. She drew herself upright and stared coldly at me. I have spoken to the others. Your Grace membership has been rescinded, effective immediately. I harbour no ill feelings towards your decision. You will always be family to me. If I happen to see you while visiting Vienna, I'll be cordial. That's all I can promise. Our server cleared the uneaten scones from the table. Two of his colleagues delicately put down a towering tagarate, spilling over with petit fours. Give Queen Beatrice the middle finger. Let's not do that. We'll use it in a spoon, and use it to eat one of the petit fours. Well, I'm glad we can at least enjoy our tea like civilized people. Just because we just apart from Rumba doesn't mean we turned into barbarians. I'll confess, I miss your visits. We stood up and shook hands. As the attendants escorted me out of the room, I took one last back of the half-full cup of tea on the table. I never liked it anyway. Okay, fall from grace. Game of spoons. We've left grace, but we did at least have high tea properly. Cool. So we're no longer part of grace now, so I don't know how that's going to affect things in terms of authority, in terms of budget. I don't feel like grace was doing particularly well for us anyway, to be honest. Ooh, Zille. Referendum results, that's going to be important, but first let's check some other things. The royal mining surveys yielded no results. No major mineral deposits have been found underneath Yales. Hopes continue to exist that further technological advancements could assist in surveying the seafloor near the city, an area that surveyors were not able to confidently assess using current methods. And a new offshore migrant processing facility has opened at Yales, operated by the Rizian Border Guard. The facility is composed of several decommissioned container ships that are being converted into temporary holding facilities. Any migrants arriving at Rizia's shores are to be held there while the Border Guard processes their paperwork. Doesn't sound very nice. But here we go. The Zille referendum. It was a beautiful, sunny day in Yales. From the tall windows of the hilltop mansion where I was staying, I saw Brennas locals frolicking on the beach beneath colourful umbrellas. I sighed, longing for the sun and sand. Instead, I was cooped up in a small room with my counsellors. At least Pebble had managed to source a bottle of very rare champagne for me, as well as a golden sabre to open it with. Lorenzo came from me, bowed and gestured towards the antique sofa in front of the television. "It is about to begin, Your Majesty." He was referring to the Zille referendum, the event that would determine the future of our northernmost region, and the reason we are all inside on this gorgeous day. "Thank you for letting me know, Lorenzo." "Your Majesty." Lucita bowed and sat next to me. I turned on the television. The ballot boxes were only 18% open. It was too early to say anything yet. We had to wait. "What are your thoughts, Your Majesty?" Let's be confident. Zille will vote to return to Rizia. I can't see this going any other way. Not without a massive manipulation effort by Wayland, which is, I'm sorry to say, entirely possible. An aide entered the room and whispered something into Lucita's ear. She got up and bowed once again. "If you excuse me, Your Majesty, it seems I've received an urgent call." "Yes, of course." Ballot boxes were 32% open. So far, about 53% of Zille citizens had voted no to joining Wayland. The doors to the room swung open and Lucita rushed in. "Your Majesty, I've received important news from our foreign intelligence. It looks like we are on track to win the referendum. At the moment, most of the votes are on our side. However, in addition, we have evidence that Smollett's people are attempting to influence the referendum results. We found agents trying to intimidate voters and instigate violence. The interrogations showed that they are directly linked to Wayland. We must act, Your Majesty, and with haste. We have all the contingency plans ready to launch at your command." "I really would caution against doing anything rash at this point, Your Majesty. We are already winning, are we not? Unless something changes in the next few hours. But it is your decision. If we're going to interfere, I suggest we act quickly." The TV host returned with the current numbers. The ballot boxes were 43% open. So far, about 53% of residents had voted no to joining Wayland. I took a moment to think. Ballot boxes were 49% open. "Your Majesty, we need a decision." Ballot boxes were 52% open. Everyone was staring at me, awaiting my decision. Suddenly, clarity. I knew what we had to do. Oh God. I feel like if we interfere, it's only going to cause problems down the line. I don't really want to try steal votes. We're about halfway there, and so far we are winning. But only by 3%. Don't interfere, I'm going to regret that. "Understood, Your Majesty." She sat back down on the couch. All of our attention was on the television as we watched the numbers change. The ballot boxes were 84% open. The result is almost a certainty now. 98% open. A shiver ran down my spine as the final numbers appeared on the screen. The final referendum result was no, with 51% of Zille residents agreeing on the transfer of the region back to Rizia. Zille was going to be returned. I had defeated Smollett. Congratulations, Your Majesty, a historic win. Sabre the champagne. We clinked our glasses and took a sip. Zille. We beat him. And we did it without any interference in the election or the referendum, which I think was very important. I walked alongside my mother through her dilapidated childhood home. The familiar scent of saltwater filled the air, prompting old memories to rush back to me, and a single word to escape my lips. Zille. Mother briefly paused when she reached the bedroom, gazing ruefully at the peeling paint on the walls. I really have missed this place, despite the abysmal state. We'll fix it up so it's exactly the way it was. Nothing will exactly the way it was, darling. We can't bring back the past, but bring back the house? That'd be lovely. I look forward to the day when I can come here without being reminded of the pain of what we lost. It was a difficult time for all of us, but it's over now. Thank Dast for that. She stopped before turning to face me. I'm proud of you, son. If not for your leadership, then this house and so many others would have been lost forever. It was my duty, mother, for our kingdom and for our family. And you fulfilled that duty admirably, my dear. The thing left to do now is decide who's in charge. The distant tolling of a bell interrupted her words. Time to go. The festivities will be starting soon, and someone here is scheduled to give a speech. With a nod of acknowledgement, we left her childhood home behind. As we made our way through the city, I felt a sense of renewal. The streets bustled with activity, alive with the energy of the festival. The once damaged tenement buildings now stood proudly, freshly repainted to conceal the scars of the past. Before long, we passed the side of Swanwick Square, where the event was being held. You should have the square's name changed as humanly possible. True change comes from within. Our focus should be on uplifting people's spirits before we tackle the remaining squares. If that's what you believe, dear, then I won't argue. As my mother and I stepped out of the car, we were met with a sea of cheering faces, their palpable enthusiasm filling the air. I spotted a group of ATA volunteers proudly waving Rizian flags. Walking towards the centre of the square, I couldn't ignore the solemn moment. Where the former grandstand once stood, there was now a memorial to the victims of the bombing. Memories of that fateful day flooded back to me, the chaos, the screams and confusion. It wasn't long before I was led to the podium to deliver my speech. Mother gently placed her hand on my arm, stopping me. Good luck. Thank you. I'll do my best to represent our kingdom with dignity and grace as you have. A smile graced her lips before she gave me a light kiss on the cheek. As I stepped onto the stage and took my place behind the podium, the crowd erupted in applause. It was then that I noticed Angelica Sazin in the front row. She wore a deadly serious expression on her face. The applause subsided. I began to speak. My subjects today brings a somber moment as we witness the return of Zille, a land marred by suffering and division. However, the path before us was arduous, but in the time we persevered. To the resilient people of Zille, I offer my deepest sympathies. Your resilience in the face of adversary was a beacon of light in such dark times. Looking back on what you endured, while remembering the solidarity that sustained you, in shared suffering you found the strength to persevere. Cheers erupted once more. I thank the members of House Sazin for their patience in awaiting the return of part of their ancestral homeland. Oh, who do we give it to? Do we give it back to them? No, we need to keep the powerful houses on side. It is with joy that I announce the return of Zille to its original custodians, Brennus and House Sazin. Angelica Sazin stood and applauded fiercely. A group of Sazin supporters began chanting Glorious Access Sazoni. Some audience members joined them while others sat with their arms crossed, looking dissatisfied. I motioned for the crowd to quiet down. I had to finish my speech. With Zille's return, we stand poised to achieve greatness beyond measure, as one people, one kingdom, united in purpose. So let us honour the memories of those who we have lost, and the dreams that have been shattered along the way. May the sacrifice of those who fought for freedom guide us towards resilience and hope. As I finished my speech, the crowd broke into loud cheers once more, their joy reverberating through the square. Local Zille representatives approached me, holding a leather portfolio containing the legislation that would officially reunify Zille with Rizia. I accepted it, quickly scanning the referendum results before taking up the pen. And without a moment's hesitation, I signed my name, fulfilling a promise now complete. I glanced over at my mother. She had tears shining in her eyes. Offering her a reassuring smile, I turned back to the crowd, the memory of their praise etched into my mind forever. We did it! Come on! Ha ha! Oh my goodness, 9 authority per turn. 9 authority per turn, we can just... We've got so much. There's only a maximum of 15. Oh, I feel really good about getting them back on side. I really do. That is most welcome. Okay. After a series of successful meetings between Pelesian and Rizian foreign affairs, Duke Reinhardt announced that the path to reunification of Rizia and Pales is now a possibility. He signalled his desire to join Rizia as a semi-autonomous region and requested us to establish a Ministry of Unification to work with their Pelesian counterparts to prepare both countries for potential unification. Absolutely. How about that for a turn? That was incredible. Right. I've got a bunch of authority. Let's do something with it. Oh, look how much money we're getting from increased income. Oh, this is great. Right, I want to go and get some... I want to get my support systems up and running. Support vehicle factory. Why can I not do... Oh, I don't have enough budget. I need one more budget. That's unfortunate. It's a 2-turn construction, but it would really help out everything. So I just need to sell something. Small energy global sale. 2 energy for 1 budget. That's fine. We'll get more energy back next turn. I'm not all too concerned. And now we're going to go and build that support system. But look how much authority we have and how much money we have. This is amazing. Build the support vehicle factory because we need some more. Just in case Lesbia gets any funny ideas, I think we need to work on that. So no budget, but we'll get that back next turn, and we'll get some energy back next turn as well. Okay, we'll continue. Chapter 4, Zille Orica. Oh, we're at Chapter 4 already, goodness me. But I'm really happy with the progress we made. Really, really happy. That's really useful. So, we will go speak with Axel Reinhardt here in Monkeys. The Grand Rizia Palace reunion was right around the corner. Preparations were complete, our teams were cooperating, and the marriage between Vina and Axel seemed to be going well. It wasn't a distant dream anymore. The only thing that was left was Duke Reinhardt's complete approval. Since my daughter married him, the couple had been travelling constantly between Pales and Port Drazen. The Pelesian authorities were working hard with our government to realise our plans for unity. On one of the couple's visits, we decided to take a break and visit my hometown in Monkeys. We were on the picturesque beach of Monkeys, sitting in front of a cafe run by distant tourist relatives, in a secluded corner that hadn't been invaded by sordid tourists yet. I'd heard reports about protests in the region, but if there were any, Titus and the Golden Guard had discreetly cleared them way ahead of arrival. Axel seated next to me, looking out to the Antician wistfully. It's refreshing being here, away from the court's rigidity. Life's simpler rhythms have a charm of their own. My eyes were on Vina as she was taking a stroll on the beach, talking to the locals she encountered. She seemed to be immensely popular here. Indeed, Axel, well said. To be honest, it's your daughter who's given me a fresh perspective on life these days. Of course, we're still working on the particulars of our marriage arrangement, but we make a good team, Vina and I. To be honest, I don't think I could manage the preparations for a reunion without her help. I'm not surprised to hear that. He looked at me thoughtfully. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but you seem to have found a love match of your own these days. Why else was Duchess Azara by your side at the wedding? Yes, we will announce it to the world when the time is right. He gave me a calculating look. And what time would that be, I wonder? Just then, the waiter of the cafe approached us to ask what we'd like to drink. Axel turned to him and spoke. What is the recommendation of the house? The waiter quickly bought a bottle of Earl Maroon whiskey as a recommendation, started talking about how smoky and delicious it was. Oh, I don't want something whiskey. If I wanted something strong, I'd go with Valgish or Galmish. He laughed as he dismissed the bottle with a wave of his hand. I have a Cantuavo, if you have any. He looked at me to see if I'd have the same. I'll have the same. The waiter nodded and brought us drinks a few minutes later. Cheers. We clanked our glasses and took a sip from our drinks. You know, my brother is quite mad about my decision to go with this marriage. My family sees this as a betrayal of House Reinhardt. Let alone all these talks of unification. It's making my family quite hostile towards me. I know how difficult it is to go against your own family, Axel, and you still did. I respect that. Thank you. It is tough. But worry not, this will not affect our cooperation. And how are you, Your Majesty? It's been a while since we last had a personal talk. I'm good, thank you, Axel. There's been a lot going on, as you know. I'm glad to hear that, really. I must thank you again for your efforts to bring South Mokopa together. Your efforts to include Palace was something I did not expect. This was definitely a great indicator for Rizia's trustworthiness. Lesbians, though, are furious about it. Still, I'd rather try to have a good relationship with them. Absolutely, we should. So, Your Majesty, I think it's time we strengthen our bonds and achieve this long-awaited unity. I've had some concerns, but I'm not against the reunification in principle. Tell me, can I trust that Rizia will take care of Palace as its own and respect its unique culture? Of course, that goes without saying. Good. He looked at me with a huge smile on his face. Let's do it. I'll prove it when I'm in Palace, and I'll swear my fealty to the Rizian kingdom. He raised his glass. To our unity. To our unity. He motioned for an embrace, and we hugged. If you excuse me now, I want to join Vina at the beach before the sun sets. It was finally real. Palace was coming home. Yeah! Come on! We got both Palace and Zille back. Budget's gone up. That's only going to keep increasing. There's also a way to possibly block Helgeland. There's an event there. But I want to just go back to the national map. Look at this. Zille's back. And Palace is back as well. Palace province. It's crazy. We will leave things there. And next time we will get into this murder investigation and whatever comes next, because we're now into turn 4. You know, we're doing pretty well. We managed to get both Zille and Palace back, and look at our authority and budget and energy. It's all looking pretty good. That's all I can say. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.